Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snowmageddon 2010, reporting live from Washington, D.C., where we are expecting to get over 30 inches of snow, which is record-breaking snow, and one snowfall. The record was set in 1922 when D.C. experienced 28 inches of snow. All this comes on the heels of the State of the Union address, where President Barack Obama endorsed the global warming activists. Okay, in Copenhagen, when he landed at the airport and exited the plane, you saw him in the trench coat, and it was because Copenhagen had just experienced the worst snowstorm they've had in 30 years. And now we're the day after the State of the Union address. Washington, D.C. experienced the all-time low, recording 0 degrees on thermostat. All this comes after the State of the Union. Now we're a week and a half removed, and we're looking at 30 inches of snow, which is a record breaker. And what did the President say during the State of the Union that's of any interest regarding this topic?
As we dream by the fire, face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman.
Now, Barack Obama afterwards was laughed at by the United States Congress because he's endorsing cap and trade, which is a policy that basically sets a carbon limit on companies, American companies. Once they reach that limit, they have to buy carbon credits for the United States government, who then takes that money and redistributes it internationally. During the worst economy since FDR, the last thing you want to do when unemployment's at 10.2% is raise the cost of operating a business. Even more people will be laid off. The Ipcc is where Barack Obama is getting his global warming data from. It's called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and it's based in the United Kingdom. The head of the panel is Dr. Rajendra Pachauri. And Dr. Pachauri has been in the news lately. Last fall, the Ipcc's mainframe was hacked into. You've probably heard of. Thousands of pages of documents and emails were released into the public, which proved that the Ipcc's had a long-standing policy of ignoring evidence that refutes global warming. And otherwise, they doctor their evidence. Of course they do. They're making their money off of taxpayers, so they have to, basically endorse fraudulent science in order to make money. In the emails, Dr. Ben Centaur of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory threatened Dr. Pat Michaels in an email sent to Dr. Phil Jones. In the email, Dr. Centaur says the next time he sees Dr. Michaels, he's going to beat him up. Why? Because Dr. Michaels of the University of Alabama said, quote, I fear that the American taxpayers will spend trillions of dollars, all based on science that lacks credibility, unquote. Dr. Jones is the head of the Climate Research Unit at the University of Anglia. He's the one that sent an email to Professor Michael Mann, Penn State University. In the email, he told Mr. Mann to not include any evidence that refutes global warming. Okay, so they've had their share of controversy. Also, the Ipcc was in recent news. After it was disclosed, they falsely reported glacier melting. They said that the Himalayan glaciers were expected to melt by 2035. It's now been proven that that's a false report. In the wake of that, Greenpeace UK chair John Sullivan called on Dr. Pachauri to step down from the Ipcc, which he still has yet to do. Several credible scientists, like the National Hurricane Center's director Chris Landsea, resigned from the IPCC. In an open letter, he said, quote, "I lack the confidence based in climate change science." And then finally, NASA released a report just a week and a half ago saying that the holes in the ozone are mending themselves despite man-made carbon. So, you go back and listen to...
But the overwhelming scientific evidence on climate, to disagree with the overwhelming scientific evidence on climate change.
It'd be nice if we had all the evidence on climate change. Of course, the evidence that they do have would be overwhelming when you ignore all the evidence, especially the evidence that refutes global warming. On MIT's website is a theory called snowball Earth. About 2.5 billion years ago, the whole Earth was encapsulated in ice. And what melted that ice? Because man wasn't around. Volcanoes. Volcanoes are the drivers of atmospheric temperature. Dr. Michio Kaku endorses this theory as well. So, on the USGS website, that's the United States Geological Service, is written that Mount Pinatubo, which erupted in the 1990s, released more CFC and carbon than man's history. Okay, that's one volcano. Right now there's over 500 active volcanoes in the world today. It's clear to say that cap and trade is nothing but a scheme to redistribute money, American taxpayer money, internationally. It's also clear that the IPCC has been dealing in fraud and not real science. The whole science is fake. And one day after the State of the Union address, Washington, D.C. experienced record lows, 0 degree with a wind chill. The same day, Texas was in an ice storm. This is just a month after Denmark experienced the worst storm they've had in 30 years. Okay, NASA is now saying that the holes in the ozone are repairing themselves despite man-made carbon in the air. So cap and trade is unnecessary. To endorse it is completely irresponsible to the American people, the economy, and unemployment numbers. The highest unemployment numbers since FDR, fellow liberal progressive FDR. So reporting live from Washington, D.C., we're at 25 inches going on 26, expected to get 2 inches per hour until 11 o'clock. That's another 7 hours, possibly another 14 inches of snow. Reporting live from Snowbama, Snowmageddon, the snowpocalypse of Washington, D.C., 2010. Keep cool. Stay warm. Vote no on cap and trade.